Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, the founder of Peer Guidance. I want to give a quick shout out to another local company before we get going, because this is all about supporting local. And this one is Duncan Sursaru with Oh My. His stuff is in the his website is in the comments section. He does sports team designs, everything really cool. Check him out. Again, just click on the link. I also want to give a great shout out to Bessie. They sell 100% grass-finished Alberta beef. They deliver right to your door. They work with local farmers, vacuum packed and delivered to you. So you can check them out in the comments section, and away they go. I also want to give one quick shout out to the Community Now magazine's Mental Wellness Week. We're all struggling right now. If you know of someone that's struggling, please check it out. Again, the Eventbrite link is in the comments section. We're stronger together, and always just remember, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. So please, 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 if you know of someone, check that out. And I would like to thank today's guest, Yana Read, the founder of PupperSelect, another great local company. Yana, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no, absolutely. I know we met, I think when we were talking here before, it was about a year ago. Has it been that long?
It was actually, yeah. It was just a little bit over a year ago when I believe it was October, because I remember I was just taking over my company from my old business partner, and I reached out to you and to Mo for advice.
Yeah.
And we met and had coffee, and you just kind of geared me towards the right path of, you just kind of confirmed that I was on the right path of going where I was.
Yes. And that's important, right? I mean, getting out there, talking to people. I mean, Mo's part of the Community Now magazine, Mental Wellness Week as well. And I interviewed him yesterday, and that he'll be one of the people talking. But, you know, Mo's a great, great mentor and a great advisor to a lot of companies out there. And by going out there, I can't stress enough, and asking people and getting so many different opinions is such a great strategy that you had.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? I'm sorry, Jude. I'm just gonna let my dog out right now.
Whoa,
I just let her back in, and now she needs to go out. So I'm just gonna keep her outside for.
Well, we are talking about dogs, so anytime somebody comes in here today, I don't think it's going to be a worry about anything.
Okay, there we go. Now she's outside. Now I can concentrate.
Until you have to let her in, but that's okay. Again, this is about dogs, so we're fine with dogs today. And we were talking about it before, how pets can just interrupt all of our meetings now.
Exactly, that and kids. And I was just sharing with you, thank God my daughter's not here, and then so I can actually concentrate, because it's hard to have your dog and your daughter all at the same time.
Oh, no, absolutely. So I'll give a brief introduction here to about you, Yana, and then we'll get after it. So you're originally from Kabul, Afghanistan, and you immigrated to Canada in grade 5. You've always been interested in human behavior, relationship, psychology. You also have a psychology degree with a minor in sociology. You worked in the corporate world for advertising for about 15 years until she realized she wanted to spend more time traveling and in hotel rooms. And here it is, boom, that light bulb moment that we always talk about is, I don't want to do this anymore, and I want to become an entrepreneur. So that's where the PupperSelect came in. You wanted to do something with animals because you love your dogs. We all love our dogs. We're all big dog people, and most people are, I guess. I'm not 100% sure of the percentages, but yeah. I mean, you know, they say dog is man's best friend, woman's best friend. So let's share your how PupperSelect started.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, like, just from the fact that I'm from Afghanistan, I actually grew up being terrified of dogs, because in Afghanistan, they don't treat dogs the way that they do here. And they're considered kind of wild animals that could hurt you. So I spent most of my life being very scared of dogs. And then I met my husband about 20 years ago, and he is an absolute dog lover. So he convinced me that we should get a chocolate lab. And I mean, I fell in love with this dog like it was my own child. And it just kind of changed everything for me, where I saw dogs in a very different way. So that's kind of where my love for dogs really started. And then so she was a purebred lab, and she had so many allergies constantly. So every spring and fall, like, you could set your clock on it, she would get an ear infection, an eye infection. I mean, she just had so many health issues. Her skin, like her coat would fall off. It was just, so we went to the vet. We spent a lot of time at the vet, and we spent a lot of money on medications for her. The issue was, I mean, this is on me. I never thought that it was her diet. it never even occurred to me until she was about 9 years old. And someone had said something to me, hey, have you tried a raw diet? And to be honest with you, Jade, I didn't even know that a raw diet existed. Like, that is how far away I was from it. So I researched it, and we changed her on the raw diet. It took about 2 to 3 weeks, I would say. And we saw changes in her. We saw changes in her mood, in her coat. The first things first, she did not have another like ear infection or eye infection again, which to me was huge, because I mean, you could set your clock by it. So that really changed everything for me. And then I really started recommending it to almost everyone else I knew, and we changed her diet completely. And she went from someone who probably would have had a life to maybe about 9 or 10, I think, like were her last years kind of thing. And that's why we were like struggling to really find something that could extend her life, like without medication. We actually put her down just this spring. So she lived to almost 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
So we gave her an extra 4 or 5 years of life, but a healthy life and happy life, where she was still going for walks, and just like her tail was still wagging and she was happy. So yeah, so that was how this whole idea came about. I just thought, yeah, go ahead.
No, and I said that's interesting. I mean, again, we have our dog food, and we gave you gave me some samples, and we tried it out, and of course, I mean, anything. It's almost like human food for them. It's like blah, 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 gone, away they go, and I mean, you talked about some of the benefits of the dog, and I mean, people always have that mentality. Oh my goodness, it's more expensive. I can't afford it. I got to go to Costco. I want the big bag for $30 or whatever the heck it is, and that'll last me for months, but they don't really take into consideration what you talked about, the health benefits that could cut down on vet bills. So I guess maybe, share that if you have some numbers or some stories.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? The very first thing, when you change your dog into a raw diet, the first thing you'll notice, like probably within less than a month, you will notice their coat and their skin. And it is the most obvious one. So 40% of what dogs eat in protein, it goes straight into their skin and their coat. So if they're not getting enough protein, their coat doesn't have a chance to actually grow. That's a big issue. So protein is really extremely important. One of the bases I do want to share, though, for a raw diet is before dogs were like domesticated in our homes, they are natural born carnivores. They should be eating meat and fat. That's all they really need for their bodies to be healthy. They don't need carbohydrates and fillers and preservatives. We've added all that stuff in there. Okay. So their coats initially will, that's the first thing you will notice. The second thing is usually their behavior. Like a healthier dog is just happier. You will see their energy levels go up. You notice your own dog and you see just kind of the energy levels that they have from when they're puppies. And you don't really notice it from when they're little, but once they kind of get past the age of 7 or 8, you notice a decrease in their energy, in their moods. They get grumpier. So you will notice it on that. One of the main things I realized within the first month is waste. So because our food has nothing, there's no fillers in it, there's no carbohydrates, their waste is so much less. So rather than having something this big, you have something this big that you have to clean up. And because it is so natural, a lot of the times it'll go back into the grass and it acts like fertilizer. So that's one of the biggest things I noticed was kind of like their bodies are absorbing all of the protein so quickly there's not a lot of waste. The other thing you will notice, though, is I have never brushed. So I have a new dog, Luna, and I have never brushed her teeth since I've had her. Wow. The main reason is because she's been on raw diet and she does not have bad breath. Like I don't give her all those treats for bad breaths and all that kind of stuff. It's just purely her diet. Humans, we have an enzyme in our mouth. It's called amylase. And what it does is that when we eat carbohydrates that have sugars in it, it breaks it down for us. So we can actually digest it. Dogs don't have that. So what happens is that we're giving them kibble. They can't digest and they can't break down a lot of those carbohydrates, which is an issue for them, which really kind of goes into having bad breath, their teeth get yellow like fairly early. So those kind of issues that you don't even think about, you can just not even worry about it with having a raw diet. Their dental health, and like one of the things is also you will notice a muscle tone in your dog. So dogs, imagine, this is like the best analogy that I can ever give. Imagine going to the gym every day. So like you're taking your dog for walks, you're trying to keep them healthy, keeping them on like a good weight. But imagine going to the gym to bulk up, but you're eating 50% bread. That's not going to really work. So that's kind of, and a lot of people don't think about of what you're feeding your dog is the equivalent of like you eating bread constantly dipped in butter. Like that's not going to be healthy for you. Your heart's not going to work well. Your kidneys won't work well. You know, there's a whole bunch of cancers that could be in there. And those are the kind of future stuff that a lot of people don't think about. And they think about, oh my goodness, I'm paying this much money for their food right now. But if something happens to your dog, I mean, the cost of cancer is extreme. And most people don't have health insurance for their dogs.
Yeah.
So in the long term, and one of the things that I really do appreciate about PupperSelect is we've really kept our prices down. We are not inexpensive. We're actually a third of the price of retail per our price, and we do a free delivery. I really wanted to keep it affordable to a point where anyone, about 2-3 years ago when we were doing it, I was looking for something because most of the time, the first raw dog food I saw was $8 a pound. And that's extremely expensive when my dog would eat 1 pound in the morning and 1 pound at night. I mean, that's $16 for one day of their food. And I get that that is expensive. Yeah. So by the time I set up PupperSelect, we've managed to keep our prices to $3 a pound, which is an extremely lower cost.
And that's good. I mean, I agree. I think that's the biggest thing to get over, right? The benefits. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I love the analogy that you used about going to the gym. I mean, I think that's a great way of putting it. I mean, if I want to lose 30 pounds, or somebody wants to lose 30 pounds, they go to the gym, they could probably get 10 off by just going to the gym, or 15, and the rest of it has to be because of your diet. So I think people understand that and get that. And honest to God, I'd never thought about that about our dog, like at all. Like, and you know what? And you said, oh, it goes, you know, maybe that's why people don't pick up all the poop in our neighborhood, is because dog food. And what you said, it just goes to the grass and fertilizer and things along those lines. But no, I think that's a really good analogy, and that I think that hit home for me, and I hope it will for some of our listeners. Again, I'm talking with Yana Read, the founder of PupperSelect. The website is on the screen here, PupperSelect.com, or you can click on it right in the comments section. So I know the education about fresh, and raw dog food is tough. And I mean, you've got the big boys out there, all of them playing in the same space. It's a very competitive space. So what have you done to, grow your brand, differentiate yourself, and, keep that quality down and that price down?
Well, when I first started this company, I really had one kind of goal in mind. And I think I really kind of brought in my own experience. I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I worked for 15 years in the corporate world. And one of the things of the reason I wanted my company was because, I mean, there's a few years there where I spent more time in a hotel room than I did with my own family. And as my daughter's getting older, I really kind of wanted to change all that. So hence of why I left kind of the corporate world, and I really wanted to do something like this. What I really wanted to do was build a company that was built for people like me. So a working mom, a working family or two parents are working, but people who don't have a lot of time. So one of my biggest competitions kind of do a little bit different than I do. What they do is they come in and they say, okay, Jade, you and your whole street, will you commit to buying this much? And we'll drop it off at the end of your street. And then you guys just come and pick it up, that kind of thing. And the prices are kept low that way, but it's still not ideal. So what I did was, at PupperSelect, you can literally buy from anything from 6 pounds of food or up to like 100 pounds of food. The price is exactly the same. We don't charge you less for buying a lower amount. We don't charge you or higher for buying a higher amount. What we do is, let's say that there's a person who lives downtown Calgary and only has a small freezer. Well, they can only do maybe 10 pounds a week, and they have a small dog. So they can't really take 40 pounds a week from me. So that is kind of one thing that I did. I structured my company very differently to suit every single pupper, but also their parents. So how much freezer space do you have? How much does your dog weigh? And how much do they eat? What flavors do they like? So you can literally go onto our website, pick anything from like a variety box and only get 6 pounds delivered to you for free. And we don't charge anything for delivery. So we could deliver it to you once a week, once a month, once a year, whatever that looks like. Again, it really depends on you, your home, and your dog. So that's, I think, what it's convenience. I wanted to build convenience plus affordability into our pricing. And I think we've hit like a pretty good area where, I mean, obviously we're a company, we also need to make money, but I wanted to make it value-based for our clients. And that's kind of the little glitch, or a sweet spot is what I call it, is where we are in between them, is that we're not these big people who do this big volume, but we're also not the little guys. And I think we're kind of just in that middle where we're based for convenience, affordability, and quality.
And I love that, right? I mean, it doesn't, everybody talks about, oh, I have to go this global brand. I have to do this. I have to be wherever I am. And then yourself and, I mean, the sponsor of this, Bessie Box, have a very similar story, right? You're delivering quality, fresh food, one for humans, one for your dogs, but it's something that's so important. And I really do think that the where you are and what you've done to create that we tried to go down the fresh road quite some time ago, and again we just found that it was just way too much money. And even my brother who stopped doing it because it was done. Now, I've told him about Pupper, and I don't know if he switched or not. It's not a conversation that comes up a lot, but I really do like that fact that, number one, it's delivered, and number two, you basically have those packs that are set for a person's size, because we don't have a whole lot of room in our freezer, and we don't have a whole lot of room in our fridge. So on an ordering basis, it's more option is better for us. So I think that's a brilliant strategy.
Exactly. And we were able to do that with keeping our prices very affordable. And that's always one of my biggest things, is go check out our website. I think you will be shocked at how little you pay per pound as compared to, let's say, going into retail. Because look, retail has a lot more overhead than we do. Yeah. They have to pay their staff. They have to pay leases, rents. We don't have any of that. So we are able to keep our prices very, very low and extremely affordable.
And it fits in with the whole work from home model now. I mean, everybody's working from home. It really does. Yeah. And it's something that, I mean, we've worked with the brick and mortar places, and we've had people that, lots of successful businesses that have worked in places like Work Nicer and these, these co-working places. And I mean, I've been working from home for over 20 years. So there's no relative, it's different for every person, but I truly believe that, if you can keep your costs down, the result will be just more sales for the end user, because you're just not spending a whole lot of cash on things that just aren't relative to the success of your business. And
exactly. Yeah.
And that's something. And I mean, that's the entrepreneurial spirit. And that's something that we do in Alberta. And people are looking at it saying, hey, I can just rent some space from a freezer company or a refrigeration company or whatever it may be. And that's where we're going to base our deliveries out of. Or I use, there's some people now that use culinary co-working with Andrew and what they've created. And they have a community kitchen that you can rent space from, so you don't have to cook out of your home. And there's so many great things that we can be doing, home-based businesses that can be doing here that are a very good sized business, but they don't need to have office space or any brick and mortar.
I agree with you. And you know what? Like, just to kind of build on that, is when I first started my company, I really realized, and especially in Alberta, we have so many resources that are available to all entrepreneurs, but specifically women entrepreneurs, that I was able to kind of LinkedIn, and they helped me tremendously with resources, like even with finances when I first needed help. There is a group called the Alberta Women Entrepreneurs Group. And they kind of had my back right when everything kind of went in the spring. They really showed up, and I just want to give them a huge shout out. And if there are any other women entrepreneurs, go on their website, check it out. They're an amazing resource with education, finances, anything you really need. they were really there for me, and ATB as well. ATB really kind of showed up when I needed their help.
And that is, the bank. I mean, ATB is always good. They always promote. They have an entrepreneurial center. I've spoken there before. They have great resources. They bring people in like yourself or Seven Summit Snacks out of Edmonton, and have people talk about different ways to whether it be raise capital, to marketing, to anything along those lines. And as I said, I mean, Alberta is just a really good resource, and we are such a really good ecosystem, and I love it. So again, I'm talking with Yana Read, the founder of PupperSelect.com. Click on her website in the comments section. So what's next?
Well, your question, that's a great question. And especially nowadays, I mean, normally I would have a very good answer for you, but yeah, you know what? We're taking it a little bit day by day. So as you know, we are an e-platform based business. Yeah. We were able to pivot a little bit in June, July. So right now you can find all of our treats. So not our raw dog food, but all of our dehydrated treats, which are also completely local. They're made just outside of Red Deer on a family farm. And like when you grab one, the ingredients, the most we have is in one of our packages, we have 2 ingredients. Other than that, they all have 1 ingredient. But now you can find them at most Sobeys in Calgary and in Edmonton and Red Deer. And you can also now, as of last week, you can find us at most of the Safeways as well in Calgary, Edmonton, and Red Deer. So our next kind of thing is to expand into IGAs. And so go into a little bit of the Fort Max and Grand Prairies, but my goal for the next year at least is to stay extremely local. I'm a very proud Albertan, and I want to keep our money within our own economy and kind of build our own business economy for the next year, because I think, look, this is home, and the most we can do right now is help each other, and that's kind of the best where we will come out of it much better if we can help each other. So we're keeping it within Alberta. I'm hoping to expand. We're in talks with Co-op, with Save on Food, with Pet Value. So nothing has been solidified, but that's kind of the future of our 2 divisions. Our treats will go into retail, and our raw food will be an e-commerce platform.
Nice. No, and I can't agree more with your strategy. And again, it's something that I always tell people is bigger is not always better. And bigger sometimes comes with more problems, more hassles, more expenses, more, and not doesn't necessarily mean more success or more money. So I love that fact that if you can if you can master of your own domain, to take an old Seinfeld analogy, and here's Alberta, and I want to get in, and you know what? Yeah, I'm in the Safeways and Sobeys and in Calgary and Edmonton and Red Deer, but I want to share my love and my love of dogs and the great food that we're producing to the people in the Grand Prairies and the Fort Max and the Lethbridge and Medicine Hats and all those of the world, in Alberta. I think that's a great strategy personally. I mean, that's me.
And you know what? Look, Alberta has really helped me a lot. I've lived in Alberta for most of my life. I truly love this province. And I think, we have had a tough go, but I think it's that toughness that has really created all of us entrepreneurs all of a sudden. I think right now per capita, I think the last kind of thing I saw was Alberta has more entrepreneurs per capita than anywhere else in Canada. And it's because we're resilient and we always pivot. We find a way. Yep.
No, absolutely. We are resilient. There is no doubt there. And the support ecosystem in this, and I can't speak for Toronto or that type of thing, but it doesn't matter who you are, what what industry you're in. All entrepreneurs here are work together. They help each other. They're at a lot of the same events. They all know each other. They share their knowledge. They share their stories. And I think that's why we have so many successful companies growing out of here. And it's great to see. And I love being a part of it. I love helping some of them, even if it's just a 10-minute phone call, or even if it's just them coming on, telling it like it is, and giving them some love and a little more publicity. It's something that it's just an excellent ecosystem.
And I love what you are doing, Jade. Like, as soon as I met Mo, obviously he talked about yourself, and then we met. But I think what you guys are doing through Peer Guidance, it's really important. And it's really important because what you do is you bring your experience to someone like me. Like when we met, you're scared. Like when you're first having your own business. I mean, I always thought of myself as a really good salesperson in the corporate world.
Yeah.
But once I had my own company, it's very different. Business is very different than sales. And there's a lot of different things you have to think about. So I think just having conversations with people like yourself really helped me. And you really kind of helped me like go, you know what, you can do this. Like, it's not brain surgery. It's just like, here's kind of like a list of like what you need to get done. And that's important. So having people like yourselves and having even this platform to come on, it's so appreciated. Thank you.
No, you're very well. I mean, and we love it. And that's why, you know, our slogan is purpose before profit. And we're there. And whether it be Mo, Daphne, Kalea, Peter, everyone's on the same mindset. That's why, you know, we wanted to have everybody as a team, and it's great. And I mean, we waived all the fees for our clients during COVID. And again, it's about making people survive in this ecosystem, because we're stronger together. And then that's the way we have to move forward. And, you know, COVID's punched a few in the face. There's been a lot of success stories, you know, come out of COVID, and it's made a lot of businesses more efficient and some of them more profitable because they put off things that they haven't had a chance to do in the last maybe 2 or 3 years. And I mean, yeah, it sucks when we're going to be locked down here again. I can't go to the gym and I can't go to swim, but you know what? It's a little short-term pain, and we'll get through it.
We will. 100%. I mean, this is not going to last forever. And I agree with you. All of us are in this together. We just have to just like make it through.
Absolutely. No doubt. So my last question for you, Yana, is you're fresh into it. You're about, you know, a year or so in, and, you know, your answers probably, you've gone through a lot of different scenarios in your business. If you had one piece of advice for a startup, an entrepreneur, or a small business, what would that be?
You know, that's a great question. That's a really great question. And to be honest with you, I used to ask this to a lot of the entrepreneurs that I had met initially. One of the things for me that I found was to not get down on myself. I mean, I did waste a little bit of money. I had some ideas that didn't go their way. You really have to be patient with yourself and really give yourself that room to make mistakes without feeling down about it and without going, oh, well, I can't do this, or this is a failure. I mean, I'll just give you an example with our packaging. So when I first kind of took over, we had this kind of packaging that really looked like it was done in my own computer, because it was. And then I decided it just didn't go over very well. And so then I ended up paying someone a lot of money to do my packaging for me. And, you know, half of that for my treats worked out really well. The other half for the raw dog food, we didn't realize that when the frozen tubes were melting, it was actually taking away the paper, so it would just like fall. So my point is, half of it worked, the other half it didn't work, and I'd spent quite a bit of money. And you have to just give yourself some room to make mistakes and not get mad about it, because my husband always reminds me this when I do, because, well, when's the last time you ran your own dog food company? Never. Like, we're learning. I am learning as I go. So, you know, having that and having a really good support system. I know it's really cliche to say you need a good support system, but you do. And especially in this time, my husband has been an amazing system of just like talking to me mentally, of like when I do make a mistake or something that I think is a failure, he will just kind of talk to me of saying, listen, it's not a failure. You made a mistake. It might have been an expensive mistake, but it is what it is. And then you just keep on going. And I think I've never understood those words before as much as I do now, is just keep going. That's all you can do. That's probably the best thing I can do, is don't get down on yourself when mistakes happen. And you're going to change your mind 1,000 different times with new information that comes up or new realities that happen. And that's okay. Let go of your old, whatever, like you were married to, that thought or that vision, and change. And I think you have to be very flexible, especially in this day and age. You have to be extremely flexible.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, right? I mean, mistakes are going to happen. You learn from them and then you move on. And I mean, that's some of the great advice. And I've heard that before, and people talk about it. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you're going through an accelerator or whatever it may be, people talk about it. Don't be scared to make that mistake. You learn from it, you move on, and you know, you don't make it again. And that's such good advice.
But mistakes, like you should really like look at your mistakes and see why you made them and analyze them, but then you really have to let it go.
Yeah.
And then just keep going. Because they can drag you down mentally unless you consciously decide that, okay, you know what, I made this decision based on this information at this time. And now that information has changed, and really you have to have that conversation with yourself of, that said, let's put that in the past. I wasted that money. It's going to happen. We're not all expert like entrepreneurs. We all learn as we go. Exactly.
Yana, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge. And anybody that wants to check out the PupperSelect website, it is in the comments section. Thank you to Bessie again. BessieBox.com is in the comments section. Click on them. Again, I want to give another shout out to the Community Now magazine's Mental Wellness Week. I will be hosting it. It is in the website. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. And in this time of need, we're here. You're not alone. And we want to make sure that everyone understands that there is someone that you can talk to. So please check on that if you want to. It's going to be running all week. And the Friday, we're going to have a nice little Zoom call where everyone will be on it. And you can, anybody that can join us. And again, the links are all out there on the website. So please check that out. Again, Yana, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a great week.
Thank you. And Jade, I just want to to end it off. We're running a contest for the next week in all the Sobeys blush lanes and Safeways, where if you go in, take a photo with our treats, you tag us, you tag the store, and then you get to win a prize on December 18th, right before Christmas.
Oh, perfect. Everyone likes to win something.
Yes, it's a pack of our Pupper chew packs and also a 20-pound of our variety raw dog food.
Nice. That's a great contest. Again, check that out, Safeway and Sobeys. So again, Yana, thank you very much, and we will chat soon.
Thanks, Jade. Bye.
Okay, bye.